Welcome to Rom Wills. Money Matters. Make sure you feed your savings with your multiple income streams. Now, it's very important. Now, in the last one, first one this week, I talked about getting those unexpected windfalls. Very good. But then I talked about getting into a rhythm with how you use the income streams that you know are steady. You know you're going to get paid from this platform, this business, this endeavor, and including jobs. Because one of the things I don't talk about as much is having a regular 9-to-5 job, but then having that side hustle or side business. Indeed, you can there's many people, they will still work that main job and even retire from it, but then they're making as much from their business depending on how it's set up and everything. But those are still two multiple income streams, maybe even more. Now, one of the things you need to do is make sure you feed your savings and any other, like maybe emergency fund, whatever, a fund just for taxes. Sometimes, especially if you're a solopreneur, you can combine them all together, but you still need to put some money to the side. It's very important. Very, very important. Because I spoke in the last episode about not having to live paycheck to paycheck since 2015. About around 2015. Because even though I was still working full time, I still had, still making money off of just basic publishing, but then I was expanding more into social media. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, wait a minute, got a little bit here, got a little bit here. Okay. It wasn't as bad. Like, especially with the savings, you need to build up, I would say at utmost medium, build up at least 1 month of savings that can cover all of your bills. And that's at the utmost minimum. It's recommended that you have at least 3 months of all of your bills covered, at least 3 months. And then indeed, if you can get that up to a year, 2 years, 3 years, you're doing something. But whatever the case, you feed in your savings, especially with multiple income streams, especially as an entrepreneur, because you don't know how the market will go. And really, you need to do that even if you have a steady business. You're not hearing as much news about it, but there's been a lot of people lately, being laid off. And you never know. And out of my 1,000 jobs, there's been plenty of times where they would have either a sudden layoff or sometimes they'll let you know. This has been both working in contract work with the government and also in the retail industry. You never know. You never know. And let's be real, even though I wouldn't wish this on someone, sometimes you might just get fired. You need to keep that savings, if nothing else, for that. When it's a crying shame in America, it's said that half of Americans can't handle a $400 emergency. You have to. Because even before I really got started on social media, YouTube and, all of my other sites, when I was working full time, I was still feeding my savings. Mainly from not just the job, but also I still had the publishing business was still there. I was still selling books, just not enough to live on totally. But I remember one time I was in the DC area, ran into a deer. There's a deer in heat. It was just running across the highway. It's like, boom, oh Lord, And still managed to get home and everything, right? Still managed to get home. It didn't mess up just a lot of cosmetic damage. And so, I had to have insurance check it and all of that. But they always have deductibles. Like about a $500 deductible, usually. And now, there might be some insurance companies that don't do that, but I kind of highly doubt it. Because, when I'm out and about, you'll see those cars with dents in them and everything. And, the first thing that says to you is if there was an accident, they couldn't cover the deductible. And there's a lot of people like that. If there was a real accident or something, they got that bump or something, they can't go to insurance and take care of it. Not that they don't have insurance. You legally have to have insurance. They just don't have the deductible for it. It's a crying shame, really. It's a crying shame, especially if you're paying the company. But, that's more of a political discussion, But, and there might be some companies out there that you don't have to pay a major deduction. If there is, let me know. Let me know. And they're probably not a major one, though. That's the thing. And no telling what else you have to do not to have to pay that deductible. But that's the thing, though. You never know what you might need that savings for. Let me get back to having that money to cover everything if everything isn't working right. Because even with the income streams, multiple income streams, especially if it's from being in business, you never know when there's a dip in business. You never know. Because it could be affected by something beyond your control. Say you have a business and it's next to a factory. It's next to a major factory. It could be like a food place, something. People come there to eat. People from that factory always come there to eat. Okay, boom, boom, boom. What happens when the factory goes out of business? That was your major customers. You are affected by that. It's a lot of stuff. It could be construction. They constructing stuff. It is making it harder for people to get to your business. It's so many things. A lot of when we had the COVID shutdowns, a lot of people's businesses were affected. A whole lot. That's why the government were giving out those loans or, those payments and everything. Loans pay, I said loans, but I guess payments. I didn't have to apply for one. I was like, oh, I'm not affected by it. But you never know. So you want to have that savings to cover that. You want to have that savings, or you could even do a separate fund to really just cover taxes. A lot of people get caught up with taxes. It was like one of the things you want to do, you got to think about taxes. Now, I've already said I got multiple income streams. I got one stream that's dedicated just to taxes. I got one stream that's dedicated to taxes. So, and also too, depending on where you at, you can have taxes taken out, but I prefer just to get the money and then pay it at the end, tax time. But one of the things is having that money. You got to put that away. You always think paying yourself first, because there's so much you can do with it. Even on another level, not just having the money to pay taxes, or not just having, that savings to cover you in case there's a dip in income. Something could happen to maybe one or even several of your streams. You still you want to feel comfortable. Because even with your businesses, it could be ebbs and flows. You could have a business that really makes a lot of money during one season, but not as much. So you still want to be able to cover stuff. It's comfort. You don't want to be to a point where you're sitting there waiting for that check. You want to be to the point where, it comes. It's like, oh, okay, got paid. Write it down. Allocate it the way you can. It gives you a peace of mind. It gives you a peace of mind. And then also, you might want to expand your business or expand to something. You want to get into another income stream, but it's going to take an investment. You have the money right there. That's why I've always emphasized savings. You can do so much more, because most businesses are not going to get a major grant or something to get started. Most. Now, there's some stuff out there, of course, but let's be real. Most businesses are started with credit cards and stuff, and that can be an issue because then you got to pay that back. But if you have a good savings, you got that extra money, boom, that's your seed capital right there. And indeed, you can get it into a business. You can get it into income producing assets. You can get stocks, whatever you want to do. But to even get to that point, you need to feed the savings just for so many things. So you can do so much with it. When you have that money there, trust me, you sleep a whole lot better. You sleep a whole lot better. And then you can do so much. All right. So anyway, that's it for today. And I was talking about multiple income streams. Hey, you got to just get those streams going. So you know the deal. Let's go make that money.